Okay, hi. We're gonna go to this series of short videos on the Emini.Today terminal, and I'll try to explain what's this all about, because I see there is a lot of confusion because there's a lot of charts, a lot of different metrics, and some people just don't know how to handle all these informations. But I assure you that it's pretty much straightforward once you know what's what in this software. Okay, so the first section here, which is pretty important, is this trading plan and forecast. What it basically is, it is a multi-day price structure of Emini S&P with some major support and resistance and direction or trend overview. So basically, it's where we at right now and how does it look from the perspective of last few days, last few sessions, not only the intraday. And basically, I start the day trading, looking at this chart, like I said, to see where we at and what's ahead of us, where's the initial opportunity may be for taking a trade. So as you see, it's this little commentary, and then everything here. From this commentary is on the chart. So first of all, you want to know what's the trend, right? Because it's pretty difficult for some people to tell what's the trend. I mean, if you look at the S&Ps or in indexes in general, it's kind of simple to say what the trend is, right? But it's much harder for most of people to tell where the trend's gonna end, or where it might retrace, or where do I get in a trend, because like now it seems that it's too late to get in, or people are too scared to trade on the long side, and they're trying to pick the tops, which is really dangerous right now. So basically, this will give you one major information here, and it's actually this one. So a trend change to the downside will occur if market closes in RTH session below 3361, and this is basically telling you that until this level, which actually changes a bit throughout the sessions, if this level's going to be broken and that the price will close below this level in an uptrend, then then we can say that the uptrend is over, and we will more likely look for short positions rather than longs. So this is like the starting point, the basic information on what's the trend and when is like final word on where it's gonna end. Okay, so the second thing that is important to know is, okay, I know that the trend is up, but where do I get in this trade? Because the price is very high or somewhere in the middle, and I don't know where would be the good potential long entries. So of course, buying at the pullbacks, but buying at the pullbacks, it requires you to somehow, you know, figure out where the pullback's gonna be, and where is the best risk reward ratio. So basically, this is the information right here, that the bullish opportunities are at 3422 and 414, which are drawn over here in on a chart, like these two green levels. Also, what you want to know is where is the closest resistance. So maybe you want to treat it as a target for your position. And basically, these are the blue lines, and it also says here that the major resistance levels are 67 and 48. So this is 48. This is 67, which we had today. And so this is like the first part of the information that you want to know, because what you can expect is a larger liquidity at these levels, which are based on some order flow algorithm which are behind all of this. And also it incorporates the volatility, implied volatility based on the options data feed from SPX, SPY, and other important options that are part and in relation to the whole S&P index. And the same goes to these opportunity levels, and of course to this main pivot, which is 3361, which the algo thinks that when it's going to be broken, then we are in a bearish mode, so to speak. Okay, so this is like the first part, the overview, which like I said, for me it's important to know like roughly where we at, and I want to use it as a kind of a compass to navigate me through the rest of the metrics, which we'll gonna talk in a second. Okay, now let's look at this upper section here, which is the probability components and overall score. And as far as this section goes, it is kind of a cumulative probability based on all of these indicators. So the forecast, the ladder transactions and orders, the options market and the stock market, and based on all of this, we get this score, which right now is like minus 55%. So, what it means is like there is a 55% or 0.55 chance that the market will go lower. So it's not a huge probability. It's very, very small. And like it says here, the trading short has about 60% expectancy of success at the moment. So it's not a it's not a huge edge right now, but that's what it says. Like, it's the overall score based on all of these metrics here. So it important thing here is that it doesn't take yet. I mean, because I'll probably do it later. It will take into account also the order flow section, which is not in this probability score as of now. And you can also see here that the probability is somewhere here, so it's minus 55, and the rest of the components are here. I think this chart doesn't look too good, and basically it's better to read this. I'll probably change it to look a bit different or something like that. Yeah, so also these informations here are related to this section and this section, which is actually two sections, right? So you've got large transactions and orders, and the options and stock market and algo activity. And even if you don't know what does it all mean here, which I'll explain in a minute, you have the commentary here with how it should be interpreted. But of course, I will explain this in more details. Like, these sections here are the same as the ones in ES Intraday section. It's just I wanted to have this dashboard view of everything beside the order flow on one screen. So let me get to this ES Intraday section to talk about these three components. Okay, so you can see that these all sections here are the same as in a dashboard, but the zoomed in ones are those three here, and the forecast is just a smaller one, but it says totally the same thing as in a dashboard. You can also like zoom in to the ES forecast, and you will have like a bigger chart, but the same commentary here. So basically, the Emini.ES Intraday is about these three charts. And let's start not from the top one, but we'll start from the middle one. So the option market order flow sentiment. Okay, so this indicator is actually the one I really like, because first of all, not a lot of people understands how to read the option chain, the option order flow, the option tape, and especially in the S&Ps, you can find really interesting information there. Basically, it's because there is not much of hiding the volume of the transactions. Like, when someone wants to close a huge transactions, it will be like totally visible. It's absolutely different than on the tape on Emini.ES, for example, where it's much easier to not to be invisible almost, and also much harder to gauge what's going on there. But on options, it's at least for now, it's kind of a simple job. You just need to know what to look for, or your algo needs to know what to look for, because it's pretty quick tape too. If you look at the time and sells on options like on SPY, it's it's also really quick, and there's a lot of going on. Basically because of you have like hundreds of different instruments in one window. Like you have all those strikes and different expiration times, and if you would want to you know look at it just using your eyes, yeah, good luck with that. Okay, so the general outcome of this indicator is pretty straightforward. Like if it's red, it's a bearish sentiment. If it's blue, like here and here, it's neutral. So it's kind of like in the middle, in the middle ground, and you just can't tell what's the real sentiment there. When it's green, it's obviously a bullish sentiment. And what you see below this, these two blue uh, um, lines or whatever that is, these blue colors, these are actual volumes, and these are important because if this doesn't exceed something about like minus 5,000 or plus 5,000, it's I would say it's not a very significant one. Everything which like here closes to minus 5,000 or plus 5,000 is a significant number, and the more volume here, the more significant the sentiment should be. And it doesn't matter if it's on the minus side or plus side, if it's negative or positive. The algo will interpret it as a buying sentiment or selling sentiment for you. But it's important to know that like this one somewhere in the middle, it's probably like 2,500 is like very mediocre. Like this one here, it's very very small. This one here is very very small, and here we have pretty good volume here. And this one at the end of today's session here, it's almost 10,000, and it's great. This is the really nice bearish sentiment. Okay. So the other thing which I've done is I also colored the price chart based on these colors of the option market order flow sentiment. So whenever this is red, the price line will turn red. Whenever it's blue, it's just blue. And when the sentiment is bullish, you will see that the price line is green. So right now I will tell you a few words about the stock market sentiment and algo activity. So the stock market sentiment is that green red line, and it's really nothing fancy. It's just my interpretation of the market internals. So basically, that's what a lot of people is seeing. There are some tweaks and twists of my own, but it's not something that would blow your mind or anything like that. It's just something that I want to know what the overall ADRs and all those market breadth indicators tell you to gauge if there is majority of trading in stock market going to the upside or the downside, right? So this is just something really normal and classic. It's nothing fancy, and in overall probability score, it's really, it's a low score. It's not a big deal, but I just wanted to have it because I use internals for a lot of years now, and throughout the time they are they have a, you know much less significance for me right now, but I still want to see it on a chart. The more interesting thing is the algo activity. It's the algo activity on a broad stock market. So this is like I take most significant stocks and watch the tape. I mean, the algo watch the tape for some algo activity, and this blue line is showing the overall and average direction where these algorithms are trading. Like if it's above zero, they are trading to the upside. If it falls down below zero, it's like more algos are selling now. And again, the outcome of this is on the first chart. So these are like the significant algorithms based on these average, and algo activity itself is marked with this larger dots, green for bullish algorithms and red for bearish algorithms. Now, what I like about it is that whenever these algorithms line themselves in pretty much the same region on the price, like there are like 4 or 5 dots sometimes close to each other, pretty much at the same price. It usually, of course, happens when the market consolidates. It's telling me that this price can be a significant one, which is heavily protected by the algos. And then if I see something like that, I look, for example, to the order flow section to see if there are any levels which would correspond with these made by the algos. So that's that. These are these dots, colored dots, are actually the most significant ones of the algorithms that are detected on the stock market, the broad stock market. Okay, now a lot of people are asking me what's these little blue dots. So this one is also very interesting. Like these are of course the orders, and the orders are based not only on ES. This is a tricky one because what I do is again take the major stocks and also the Emini and also the not only the ES but also NQ and RUTYM. And I use almost the same algorithm which detects those green and red dots, and I use it to I use it on the DOM to watch for some unusual activity there. So these orders, which are marked by these dots, these blue dots are actually from a lot of different instruments. It's not just from the Emini. But what I do is I transpose those orders from other instruments into the Emini chart. So basically, based on the volatility and on the ranges, the average ranges, I can estimate where these orders on other instruments would correspond on the Emini ES price. And the one interesting thing that some people ask me about is why these dots like move sometimes like in lines. Well, it's because the algo which calculates it is constructed this way that it also tries to recognize like a one source of the order, and if it will see that the one particular kind of order moves with the price or against the price in some segments in time, and increases like in pretty much similar way, it just treats it as a single algorithm and a single order which behaves like that. So sometimes it will show like not a straight line like in most of depth of market tools. Sometimes it will show you something like this when it just moves in the angle like some kind of a line. But it's basically how it works in many cases. Like these algos just move the order in this funny way, but actually these kinds of orders are usually very helpful. Like in this particular situation, when it moved up, and then price just hit it, there were some more here, and that was basically today's top. Okay, so the question is, it's quite a lot of information, and we didn't even touch the order flow module. So based on that, what I said, how to use it, like how to interpret it and how to turn it to a trading decision. So I can only tell you what I do and what works for me. Usually, it's none of these indicators separately or together, they are not like 100% holy grail or something like that. But I think that they have a significant edge over most of like technical tools, and probably it's because it exploits some unpopular concepts. Okay, so like I said, the first thing is I want to know what's going on here. So have a rough estimation of where we might go, what's the trend, where's the opportunity level, where's the resistance level. So like for example, today we know that the trend is up, the opportunity levels are down here. I want to see the market goes to these levels, and first of all, I want to see the option market order flow sentiment is bullish with a pretty good volume. So like minus 4,000 or 5,000 or plus 4,000 or 5,000. Like here, it's if we would get closer to these levels, I would definitely be interested in buying this market. Now, if we got to this second resistance here, which I tweeted actually today, and I see this situation here, it's not a significant volume, but I like that they flip exactly at these numbers here, like 67. They turned red. I like this trade. Like I would go for it. I actually took that trade, and yeah, I mean, this alone plus plus the plus the algos are red here, a lot of resistance here. Yeah, it looks interesting to me, and I go with the trade. Now the bad thing which happened just before it jumped even higher was that it turned red. I mean green. So the sentiment changed suddenly to bullish. So I would either bail out on this trade or put the stop loss somewhere above these orders here. And as you can see, they again flipped to the bearish side. So this is like one thing that it's pretty easy to trade off. Like I wouldn't go with a huge size on this short trade here because we are in the uptrend, right? And this market is like a road. It's parabolic. But still we had some reaction here, something, some liquidity there, and some resistance there. Definitely it was there. I still think actually that that we might see some funny things overnight, which we'll get soon when I'll talk about the order flow. Okay, so this is one way to interpret this. Pretty straightforward, I think, and pretty simple. Now, there is one very important thing about this indicator, which I didn't talk about yet. It's the way it closes the session, because you got to know this is the RTH, so this is regular trading hours. This is the US session. It works like it refreshes only during the RTH because it's based also on stocks and on the options on ETFs, which are not working overnight. The only thing that works is the futures options and the bell. Sorry for that. The futures options and the futures itself. That's why I don't calculate more than this RTH session with these indicators, simply because all the algos go crazy, and it in my opinion it doesn't have a point to remodel everything just for the overnight, mostly because I believe that the overnight session is like 90% it's set during the RTH hours, the RTH session. And one thing that I wanted to mention here is, if you see that the market closes with the red sentiment and a significant volume, like here, even if it's like 2,500, something like that, it will, like in 80% cases, it will show you the direction of the overnight session. It's many times we'll see that the market goes up during the session, and then there is this red sentiment, and it just points out that there's a really high probability that the market's going to go down during the overnight session, or many times even the next session. And you also have this information here. The option trader's activity is bearish. According to the transaction flow and options, the majority of activity is speculative, not hedging at the moment. So the one thing that I didn't mention, which is here, is not hedging, or it can be hedging or speculative. It's just that it will tell you if this confirms with the broad stock market. Like if there is a buying here and this is like selling, it's a speculative sentiment here. Does it make any difference? Actually, it does. Like if this is a speculative selling or buying, it's a bit more significant for the overnight session. So if this is a speculative sentiment, so against the broad market, and the market went up during the session, I will be a lot more confident in shorting this market in overnight. Now, how to trade all of these things in overnight is we'll get to the order flow module, because this is where the fun really is. But I hope that that it's clear so far what's what and how to use it until this point. So let's go to the order flow module. Okay, so the order flow module, I mean, this thing is something that I'm not going to trade without it. Everything that I said before, for me, it has to be confirmed, or somehow backed by what I see here, especially in respect to these charts with the levels. So let's begin with the levels. So what are the levels, and what are they doing in order flow? So basically there are two components of how I calculate this. So one is the tape, of course, the time and sells, and so the transactions, and the other are orders. Oh, it's actually three components, and the third one is the volatility, the implied volatility of a given market. So the model that I use here takes into the consideration the action in orders, in transactions, and in the volatility, implied volatility, as far as the expectations of the traders in options go. And to do this, like most simple I can imagine, first of all, the most important levels are the extreme ones, right? The extreme levels. So the highest and the lowest. And the first thing I will tell you right from the get-go, I don't need to look at anything in the sections which we were talking before, if I see the price at these levels, I will short at the higher or the highest level. I will go long at the lowest level. And one very important thing again here, these are RTH charts, but these levels are valid into the overnight session too. So if the market stops and goes into overnight session, these levels are not going to change anymore, and these are my definitely the levels which I'm going to trade off. So what I do is I just put the orders in, and usually just go to sleep, and put the stop loss, and that's the simplest way to trade it. Of course, there is much more things in these levels than just looking for the highs or the lows, because to tell you the truth, these are not going to be like the very often trading levels to be hit. So this is like a quick tip how to use it, but let's talk in some more detail about it. So some of you know that I talk a lot about this volatility cycle or order flow cycle or whatever. Like I was always kind of interested in the trader's mentality and the crowd psychology, and I always wondered how to find it in the data, how to look for it in the data, because we all know about these cliche sayings like buy when there's a blood on the streets, or sell when there's something, whatever, those wise sentences. But it's really interesting idea to, for me at least, to somehow mark it on the chart, to somehow calculate this, because like most of the things in the world are you're able to calculate it. Why not this? Why not the trader's mentality? So the max pain levels, or the max greed or enthusiasm, or all these things, and I think I kind of nailed it, like because the market gives you the data to do it. Like the implied volatility is great. The depth of the market shows a lot, and most of all the transactions show you shows you the way. So basically this purple line here is like the midpoint. It's like the intraday pivot between buyers and sellers, and from this midpoint and volatility, which is given it every moment what the market expects, I can calculate the levels which are supposed to tell you the condition of day traders, of people who are either short or long, and their emotional state where they're in. So we have like the bears in despair, and the flush level, and it's the last phase of a bullish intraday price movement or the bullish sentiment, and so what it tells you is exactly where the bulls or bears are going to capitulate, where there is a max pain for them, and yeah, you want to be there. You want to be at these levels, and they are pretty exact, pretty accurate. Like, you don't need to have a lot of stop loss for these levels, and we'll talk about stop losses in a minute. But this is, this is for me a crucial information here. So one thing that I wanted to mention, according to the information which I gave before, and on the option sentiment or the daily forecast, is I always try to see if the trade that I was talking about before, like the short, is somewhere at these levels. Is there a level that will confirm what I want to do? Like, if I wanted to short the 70 is here, there was not a lot of these order flow level here. So this trade was kind of just based on this one single major resistance level, the 67 one, which was in the forecast. But if I would want to go with some kind of a larger size in this trade, I would definitely want to see the market at least in the bears despair level. Okay, there's one other thing that I wanted to talk about these levels here. You will see the difference between the flash line and the despair line. So the yellow one and the red one. Same here, the yellow one and the green line. So the bulls in despair. And the rally line. Rally line is like the same as the flash line. So what are these? So the flash is the predicted price where the bulls which are in the market and making money right now, these are their expectations. This is where their greed is, like the max amount of greed, and it's way above the despair of bears, right? But if you look at the for example, the Russell here, the flush line is below the despair. What that means is that the bulls are expecting much higher prices here, and they will want to close their positions here, which will bring the prices down. But on the Russell, this flash line was like the expectations were lower than the bears' despair, and that means that the bulls they didn't have much confidence in this up move here, and look what happened when the flash line went up. Like they started to see the opportunity here, and when they get in here, like it's almost exactly at the bottom here, their expectations just went way up, way more than before. The same situation was in YM, and the YM and the Russell were really not moving a lot at this point. I think on NQ it was a bit different. I don't know if I have a good screenshot of it, but the NQ had the same situation as the S&P. So this is very important. Like, if you will see that the rally line, the yellow line, the lower yellow line goes through this green, which is bulls in this pair, you will see that the market is really strong to the downside. Like, I mean, it's really weak because it will move to the downside like really fast. Something like here, if the flash line is above it, like, you have a parabolic market. So that's really important. So the one other thing I wanted to say is this chart, you always look at last, I don't know, like 100 or 200 1 minute bars periods, because this is like 1 minute period chart, and this x-axis just shows how many bars there is. And because it will, this part, like from 150 to 400, it looked a bit different. It's not repainting, because you always look at what's going on now. So if you read the level, this level here is important, like 514, it's important right now. But this part of chart, it might look different when we actually were at this moment in time. So don't be don't be afraid that it's repainting or something. It's just the way that it's calculated, and so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just the way I coded it. But what you want to focus on is what's going on now, right? So last 100 bars are totally the same as they were. It's just harder to look back and see what was exactly the number there. It might change a very in a very small amount, but sometimes it's way off right here. So again, once the session ends, you just use these levels. They won't change anymore during the overnight. Just use it. Okay, so the last part I wanted to talk about is these order flow pressure indicators. Okay, and this one is tricky, because I've originally made it for Emini, and it works really nicely. Like, I like to use it in conjunction with the options sentiment. But for example, NQ, as I watch it like last couple days, is I need to see the calculations, because it just every day it just shows the opposite, and it totally works in a different manner than the rest of them. So I need to check if there is any bug, or is just acting like this. So basically, this is the zero line. Here you have the y-axis of the indicator. The indicator is that orange line, and the white is the price, of course. And basically, if it's above the zero, it's a bullish. So what it means is there is a more bullish order flow going on in a ES here than the bearish one. And if it's below zero, if it's significantly below zero, it's supposed to tell you that there is a much larger pressure of sellers on NQ, but like I said, I need to check to see if there's not some bug which just inverts it. I don't know. I've made a lot of different components, modules last couple days, and as you may have seen, I was debugging the software for the last 3 days, and it's still glitchy a bit. I'm sorry about it, but I do it myself, and it's a lot of data. But I think it works great as a tool, as a trading tool. Maybe not so great in the technical terms, but I'm working on that. I'll get there. I would really like for it to just refresh itself in real time, and next week I'll probably work on that, so there is no like the whole page refreshment. Refreshing whole page every minute or something like that. But the thing is that the levels are not changing that dramatically. They are not changing that fast. So it is tradable. It is basically usable. I use it as it's shown here. I've got it also. Parts of it are also in my, on my Sierra charts. But yesterday I just switched to this, and it was pretty cool. So yeah, this order flow pressure indicator, it just when it goes below 0, you can see that there's significant decline here in not significant, but they're visible. Why is it thick? Yeah, and then when it starts to go above 0, like here, the price just goes up. Same here. It was quite late in the day, like here on Russell. Yeah. But the concept is very simple. So to sum it up, I guess there is a lot of different things here. But if I would suggest something, it's really very simple to look at these levels alone, trade out of these levels alone, these extreme levels alone. Look at the sentiment during the regular session, and watch for the sentiment at the end, and of course know where you are. So again, I want to get in here. I want to have target here and here, and I want this to correspond with one of these levels, right? So for example, if you notice here, like we had the long opportunity and 422. Like today there was the average level was at 17, I think. So that is corresponding with this. We didn't get there today, but it corresponded with it. When I see that there are orders there also, it gives me more confidence. But even without orders, I would go with the trade. Again, if you are hunting for the top of this market, for example, you don't have to pick the top of the top to the tick to the point. You will know that when they break below this level here, whatever it's going to be tomorrow or day after or next week, you will have plenty of time to get in this short market once it comes, right? So especially in the S&P or other indexes, it's really dangerous to try to pick a top. It's definitely much easier to just pick a good place to join the trend and just ride it, which is really hard right now. I understand this, that it's so high. People got this FOMO effect, and but trade what you see. You see the levels. You see the options market. You see the stocks market, which I don't really give a fuck about too much. But yeah, it is there. So you've got the sentiment, you've got the structure, and you've got the order flow levels. So I don't need this to confirm this. Okay, I could be more confident in the trade, but it doesn't matter. For example, if these two, like if the option sentiment is different, then it gives let's say a bearish, and this gives me bullish signal. I don't care if the levels are okay. I will try the trade, and so maybe you have your own tools which you like to use, which you somehow see as a valuable tool. Then great, and you can use it to get more confidence, or to have some kind of a confluence between your tools, between your thoughts on the market and this. Because like these levels, like the Russell trade lately I showed on Twitter, this was like almost to the tick. I forgot to mention about the stop levels and the targets. Like the targets are pretty straightforward, because if you trade out of this level and go short, my target's gonna be here, at least to where the average is. But if this is the new cycle that's began, so the cycle from top to bottom, then you might scale out at the average, and ride it even lower. But these are the targets. So my target, if I go from here, then this is my target. If I go from the despair level for some reason, it's also my target, or basically depends on other factors, where I'm at and where the resistance and support is. If this trade would work out today, that would be definitely my my target, right? Which I also mentioned on Twitter. So I risked like about 7 points or something like that on this, and I wanted to make something like a 40, something like that. So yeah. Oh, and about the stops. Based on present volatility, stop loss orders should not exceed 5 points. So this is where it says how much you should risk at max on a trade using the these levels wherever you get in, at whichever level you get in. You don't want to have larger stops than this one. I should probably add the same thing to the the rest of the futures. So yeah, probably I'll do it. I'll do it in the next couple of days. Okay, so this was supposed to be a really short video, and it's an hour, I think. I hope it's recorded. The next one is going to be for the subscribers of the monthly subscription, where there's the COTRT, my old website, data, and there's a lot more on the long-term portfolios, global macro, some more S&P analysis. Yeah, so I hope it's not too it's not too complicated what I just explained you. I hope it's understandable, and if you have any questions, just probably in the comments section. It's not the best place. Just write me through the contact form, or to my email, and we'll try to figure out if there is any problem. All right, take care, and see you in the COTRT Pro video. I hope I'm gonna do it today, but I'm not sure if I have enough strength left. Okay, take care.